get the feeling that they're going to start taking bets or starting a poly market for which crypto is going to be the next one to get its own ETF. Is it going to be Solana? Is it going to be Litecoin? And I feel like all these bets are a little bit odd, but more on that in a second. Welcome to Cryptocurrents. We're the weekly blockchain and crypto podcast from people actually working in the industry. There's no shilling here, no FOMO, just people chatting about everything that's important to know in crypto right now. Think of us like Reader's Digest. And if you're too young to understand that reference, you probably still get carded at bars, and I'm really jealous. I'm your host, Vince, and today I'm joined by Kale from the Encrypt team.
What up?
And Katya from you.
Hey, Vince.
Hi, guys. You really got me with that what up. Jesus.
Yeah, dude.
So we'll round up eventually to the ETFs, but let's talk about this week, which is interesting because there are three big projects launching their chains, and those are Berachain, Unichain, and Story Protocol. Have these like launches, and I guess the lead up to them, because today is February 12th. Has the lead up to them kind of like gotten on your radar? Is this something that people should be interested, or is it all just a bunch of hype? Kale, kick us off.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to tell. You know how crypto is. Like sometimes the most random projects are like end up becoming like very important, and projects that you would have sold your house for end up going to zero. But like as far as these three in particular. Berachain seems kind of cool. I know they're doing like a unique consensus mechanism, so it's not proof of stake or proof of work. It's some kind of proof of liquidity thing that they're doing with like 3 different ecosystem tokens. I'm not sure exactly how it works, to be honest, but it's novel. It's a new idea, so I'm excited to see how it plays out. Unichain, I'm not a fan of, to be honest. It just feels like Base or Ink or BNB chain or Sonium. It's like, why do we need another L2 for an app? Like one has like 0.5 millisecond transaction times and the other has like 1 millisecond transaction times. It's like, do the users really care about this? Like, I don't know. The story one is pretty cool though. The story one I'm actually excited about. It's apparently IP and AI combined. So that can be pretty fun.
Because as we saw last week in our episode talking about DeepSeek, I am big on AI.
Yeah.
For me, one thing that, it's always exciting to see new chains, new protocols launch, and kind of how they approach this from a marketing and a PR perspective. One thing that I kind of always am starting to bump on is how everyone is trying to do this lore building, this world building for their projects of like, oh yeah, our stablecoin is called Honeycomb and our stablecoin is called Bone. And I think everyone's trying to kind of create these walled gardens of their own little ecosystems. And I think it's confusing, not only to myself, but others, to come in and be like, oh, so what's your stablecoin called? Got it. And now I have to memorize all this new lexicon of names for things that I already know, but they're just named a little bit different for this lore building. And I think ultimately it's a little bit detrimental to the industry as a whole, but I could be wrong. Katya, what are your thoughts?
Well, to speak to that, just now when you were saying, about honeycomb and all that, I think maybe, I think in crypto, it moves so fast and people are trying to like get in, get out, get rich quick and everything. And so I think maybe some of the time people are trying to recreate the success of projects that have made history and made the news. And now I was reminded of the apes. Right? And so their world building worked out so well for them, like they created the club, all of that. So that kind of model maybe is what people are trying to go after when they're world building, because in the end, like when talking about chains, so many chains and layer twos come out every day. And Berachain, they launched, and the launch was, successful as far as like there was volume, everything. But then they got a lot of criticism, as these things always do for how they distributed the tokens, for the value, if any, to the chain, to the tokens. And at the end of the day, a lot of the time, I feel like with these chains, they're not like, the chain doesn't do anything. There's no product. Like maybe with Story Protocol, there's a sense to it beyond just launching a chain and a token, because they're looking to, revolutionize the way intellectual property is recorded on chain. So that's something that you could see being useful to industries, to people, to industries. But sometimes, like with Berachain, like I feel like the product is tokenomics. Tokenomics is the entire thing, like just earning rewards, different models of earning rewards. It's a thing within itself. People run in to earn the rewards from each other. And that's, and that's it. And tokenomics is just the entire product, which I think is not a good look for crypto, and just kind of boring in the end. Like, I mean, if you make $200,000, that's never boring. I mean, like, hey, but well done, but
Yeah,
You did
definitely.
it. I like that. The product is tokenomics. I've never heard that put so astutely, and I agree, and it's kind of boring. Yeah, I'm gonna get that on a throw pillow for sure. I feel like I've said that about several things. I'm gonna have lots of throw pillows by the time we're done with this podcast.
The throw pillar.
I mean, you
throw
have a
pillow
corgi.
collector.
I'm sure that he'll appreciate all the throw pillows.
Oh,
Oh, true
definitely. Get his fur all over it. Well, okay, so let's talk about an actual product, which takes me to stablecoins. So ARK Investing's big ideas for 2025 report showed that stablecoins are leading the way when it comes to crypto products. And they overtook Visa and MasterCard in transaction value in 2024, which is bananas to me.
Insane. I was also just shocked. I was like, really? For real? I had to open it up and look at it.
Yeah. And so we've all been to a lot of crypto conferences, and we also are kind of very intrigued by stablecoins right now, because it does offer a unique product in that it gives people access to the US dollar outside of the US. What are your guys' thoughts on stablecoins and kind of the near future of, is this something? I mean, it sounds like something if it's, surpassing these monoliths of industry.
I mean, I definitely think it's something, especially since like the, Trump's crypto czar gave a conference a week ago, and he specifically addressed stable coins. Like, I think they're finally waking up to kind of like the benefit of stable coins to the dollar, which obviously it's tied to the dollar, it's digital dollar. But I think the change in the approach of the regulatory bodies now is waking up to the fact that it could be, it needs to be harnessed, this stablecoin energy for the benefit. So I think it's definitely something. I don't think it's a nothing sandwich at all, from all sides, from crypto, from government sides, from users, with this volume of transaction. I think everyone, the moment came, like everything came together, and stablecoin became the thing of 2025 for crypto.
I know stables are not usually your bag, Kale, but talk to me about your thoughts on stablecoins.
That's literally how I was gonna open it too. Because I mean, I'm like, I'm
I'm
full
glad I
ported.
messed up your joke.
Nah, dude, no. I'm full ported into the markets, so I don't really keep up a lot with stablecoin news. It's not that time for me yet. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see governments and politicians and just like high up official people talking about stablecoins instead of CBDCs, because we did have a little phase, at least a couple years ago, where people were talking about CBDs are going to be a thing. And yeah, it was scary for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, as long as the stablecoins are different than CBDCs and they allow people to actually transact cross country and do all this stuff, then yeah, I'm here for it. I want to see more ways to earn yield on stablecoins. That would be cool. Like some type of real world asset yield
Okay.
on chain stablecoins would be really cool to see.
Interesting. Okay, just spitballing here. Like, what percentage actually intrigues you, a degen like you?
Um, I mean, like at the least, I would like consider entering is like 7% because I think banks.
Jesus.
Well, because like
I was gonna say, like, the older peeps among us are like mentally considering the average savings account yield that a bank offers now, which is like just basically thank God they're not taking my money to store
yeah,
my
no,
money,
exactly,
you know? So you're like
exactly.
7%.
Well, I mean that's what I mean. It's like 20% is obviously like it's scary. I don't want to like I'm not getting your 20%. But
Okay,
like
where are you getting 20%? Like some shit coin somewhere that's like 20%
Terra
for
Luna.
5 minutes?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what I'm
There it
saying
is.
though. Like these things exist, like these projects they come out of the blue like and they'll be offering 20% APY on stables and it's like I don't know. Maybe if that
But
becomes the
I see.
standard for like a decade straight.
Better to
But
burn out than to fade away. I see.
yeah, yeah.
I
But
guess
it's like,
so.
what is the average for banks? Like, isn't the average return on banks like 1 or 2% or something?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, so 7. If I see 7, I'll consider putting my money in. Other than
Wow.
that, I'm just degen investing.
That is a tall order. I cannot imagine being a marketer trying to talk to you about a bank savings account or even a stablecoin, earn because like I feel like, the stablecoin earning things I've encountered is like 5% on the aggressive side. So
What's ETH staking nowadays?
it's like close to 3%,
Yeah, I
somewhere
think it's
about
like
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah. I think people are less excited about. I mean, it's still you're doing nothing, and there's yield while you're doing nothing. But people, when it started out, it was like I don't know 15 when it just started out, and there
Yeah.
weren't so many stakers, which is good that there's many stakers now, more stakers now. But yeah, less eye popping definitely.
Well, let's lean into probably shouldn't lean back away from my microphone. Let's lean into the degeneracy of Kale and talk about Dave Portnoy, the noted reviewer of
Oh
pizzas
Lord.
and Barstool Sports. Very vocal trader. Recently just aped both in, out, and then back in on some shitcoin called Jail Stool Sports, something. Yeah,
Yeah, so like somebody made it on his behalf or like on Barstool Sports behalf, and I guess like he adopted it as like, oh, this is gonna be our official coin, guys. And so then he started shilling it on Twitter, and yeah, people started aping in, just like typical celebrity coin stuff. It shot up to 200 million market cap, and then within the span of 24 hours, dumped 90% to 20 million market cap.
Didn't he sell some too?
apparently. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I
I'm
think
pretty sure he did.
sold some like at a huge profit, and then
Of
was
course.
like, it was an accident, and bought it back, and then tried to
Interesting. I didn't
tried
even
to
know that
do
part.
like a GameStop type of thing. Like I'm gonna hold. He posted, his wallet is publicly known, and I'm just gonna hold it now. What?
Yeah, I saw that second part. So apparently, after it dumped a bunch, and I guess he reaccumulated at that point, he started raging on Twitter. He's like, guys, like, he was talking to the crypto degens. He was like, guys, why did you do this to my token? Like, I wanted to build a legit community with this, and you guys just dumped it. Like, we could have. Why is Fartcoin at 600 million? By the way, he's like talking about all these things about like how he wanted to build a crypto community with it, and he just can't because these degens are just ruining his price chart or his chart. So yeah, it was pretty ironic. The way I see it is like, thanks for playing, Dave. It's like this is what happens in the markets. If you want to start a community, there's lots of ways to do it. Memecoin is probably not the best way, but yeah,
Well,
that's like the gist of it as far as I know.
Sparks an interesting question is when was the last like great crypto community fostered and started?
Probably
Right, because
Mog.
because everyone always is like community, y'all. We're gonna start the Hawk Tuah army or whatever, and like these meme coins trying to build community. I haven't seen any of their communities actually take form. And I'm just trying to think like When
I
was the
mean,
last
there's a
community?
few. I don't know like when the last one was per se, but there's some solid ones. From 2023, we had an era where a couple meme communities were born, who are still like very prominent to this day. Mostly like Pepe and Mog. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It's rare, you know, meme coin communities that actually end up like sticking together. It's a rare thing. Oh, and by the way, while we're talking about Dave Portnoy, I can't forget to mention that Choose Rich Nick. Do you know who that guy is?
It sounds familiar, but tell
If
me
I showed you
again.
his picture, you would recognize him. But
Okay.
anyway, so this guy, he dropped a diss track on Twitter aimed at Dave Portnoy on behalf of the crypto community. So like Dave Portnoy was shitting on the crypto community, and then this guy took it on his own accord to drop a diss track to defend the crypto community. It was so cringe, but like he was low key spitting. So I don't know. It was a historical moment in crypto. I won't ever forget it. It's
I guess
never a dull
they
day.
were inspired by the Drake, what's his name, the feud.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
So
Kendrick
they
Lamar,
wanted
Drake.
to have their own
Yeah,
feud.
yeah. It's the crypto nerds version of Drake and Kendrick.
I mean, you want to make waves, all you have to do is start a culture war, and then people will get excited and go to war for you.
True that.
It's the shortfalls of modern marketing that everyone's just leaning into, and I do not understand how people continue to fall for it. Ugh. But if we climb out of our degeneracy, let's talk about some companies that are considering IPOs. We've got, what was it, Kraken, we've got Gemini, and maybe even Circle and Consensus, allegedly, according to Bankless and Cointelegraph and Bloomberg, are all eyeing possibly IPOing this year.
And I saw even also Bullish mentioned, the owner of CoinDesk. Even they were mentioned somewhere. This is all conjecture, but yeah, they were also on the list. Yeah.
So I feel like in our time as crypto people, we've only seen one IPO, right? And that would be Coinbase. Right?
I mean, if you don't count Robinhood as a crypto
No,
adjacent.
definitely not.
I mean, it depends. I think it's a significant portion of their balance sheet. But do you guys think that IPOs of these crypto companies are a good thing, or is this just getting away from the heart and soul of crypto?
Probably a good thing overall.
Yeah.
What were
Gives
you going to
kinda-
say, Katya?
I think it's interesting, with this, both with the IPO kind of expectations and ETF expectations. It's interesting how much legitimacy bestowed by the traditional market, is how important it is for the crypto community, for these companies to be basically acknowledged and recognized by traditional markets, even though some people in the crypto world believe that we should be building a separate financial system that is not so intertwined and not so dependent on the traditional financial systems, for all the reasons that Satoshi started for, and many reasons have been added on since. But but I think it's kind of interesting that we're like, this is a sign that we're making it big, but it's kind of ironic because we are looking for the pat on our head from the people that we're kind of trying to subvert. So it's a very, very shadow work kind of situation.
Do you think that both statements could be true, that crypto is like moving towards stock market and like IPO type stuff, but we also are still an alternative financial system?
So yeah, I definitely think both can be true if an IPO isn't just a liquidity exit event for a lot of like the builders and the people that actually are making these companies innovative in ways that make them special. So that's kind of my fear when I look at this. Like we did see Coinbase retained a lot of their executive staff after the IPO and continues to to drive innovation in the space, which I think is good. I'm just afraid to see an IPO. People are like, cool, my 90-day lockup's done. Selling now. Bye, guys. Going to the Bahamas.
See you never.
See you never. Yeah. And so that's kind of where my head's at. It's like I like the legitimacy because obviously we work at a crypto company, and if we ever IPO, that would be really cool because it would be like, yeah, mom, you can buy into my company now in a way that makes sense on your little Schwab account. But yeah, I just don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm excited to see because I do remember Coinbase's IPO, people being like, it's priced at 400 and going up from there. And then it immediately just got shit on left, right, and center.
Has it ever touched 400 again?
I actually don't know where it's at right now.
I remember it dumped when it went live, and I just stopped. I never looked at it again.
Now I want to see. Hold on, let me pull it up. Somebody vamp for me.
But yeah, I mean, IPOs, for me, it's like not really a big deal. I'm not really a TradFi guy.
Yeah, so
but
it's currently at 282.
Okay.
And it looked like it peaked at like 337. So not quite back to its all-time high currently. But yeah, and it didn't apparently price at 400. I misspoke. It was 250.
I'm curious to see what other crypto companies are going to IPO besides exchanges.
I think also that crypto companies doing IPOs is maybe a sign of crypto becoming one of the main industries in the world, you know, if you consider it as an industry, because if you look at it from the point of view, like the ARK Invest report in terms of trends and investing that they publish, it lists Bitcoin and stablecoins and blockchain scaling along the lines, alongside robotics and energy and DNA research. And so these are the things that they predict as, you know, cutting edge experimental kind of investment opportunities. And the fact that crypto is one of them kind of just puts it into the spotlight as cutting edge tech alongside other cutting edge tech. So I think that's a shift in perspective that that is important, not just for market and not just for number go up, but just in the way people perceive crypto. Like it's not gambling. It's like DNA research, you know?
Sure.
Different.
Great point.
It's like DNA research. 23andMe has entered the chat. So I guess, and that brings us to how we started our show, the ETFs. I feel like everyone's getting so excited for all of these other assets to get ETFs, and I find myself saying, why? Why are they excited? Like, you know, we got the Bitcoin, we got the ETH. Did that move the needle? I would say no, as far as price action. Like legitimacy, sure, but maybe even not even legitimacy. But I don't know, I'm on the fence on how to feel about any sort of ETF when it relates to crypto. Where's your guys' heads at?
You don't think the ETF moved the needle for Bitcoin?
I don't think so. I feel like I could point to price action and kind of like general adoption, and the ETF hitting didn't really seem to do it.
I have seen somewhere that the Bitcoin and ETH ETFs are some of the most successful ETFs ever. And I might be mistaken on the numbers here, but I think the comparison was to the gold ETF, which was launched in the early 2000s. So it's about 20 years old. And at this point, Bitcoin or ETH anyway, they're like at 50% of the volume of the gold ETF, which was, they were launched a year, Bitcoin was launched just in January, I think, just over a year ago.
Yeah.
ETH later. And this gold was launched 20 years ago. So over just a year, they caught up like to 50% of gold. So like,
Wow.
I don't know what that means for BTC, ETH, or any other crypto price, but I have seen that as an ETF product, it's showed to be very successful and showed that there's demand for for digital currency.
Yeah, a demand for digital currency if price go up, not a demand for digital currency to do anything with.
True. Yeah. My question is, where do we draw the line? You know, like, do we need a Doge ETF? And if we need a Doge ETF, does that mean we need every single meme coin? Like, all the meme coins need an ETF now? It's like, why are we doing some of these ETFs? And where do we draw the line?
Yeah,
true.
like
Where would you
I
draw the
feel-
line, Kale?
Probably at Solana, or like,
So yes,
I don't know,
Joe
serious
Solana
coins,
ETF.
like blockchains that people are using. So I mean, ETH, Solana. I guess people shill at like love XRP. I don't know, maybe an XRP one.
That's the interesting point. Like if we had this conversation 2 years ago, or whatever, would we
True.
still say that Solana is a serious asset?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. But like, also on the other hand, Ethereum could be like the Netscape or AOL of crypto. You know, like we don't know yet.
Oh no.
Bitcoin could be the Internet Explorer.
This is very true. Ooh.
Oh, I just scared myself with that. Let's not think about it.
No. Well, let's end on that dour note that Bitcoin might be the Internet Explorer of crypto.
Yeah.
Because we've reached the end of our show. I hope if you've listened this far, you feel smarter and more well read in the space, because you certainly are. If you agreed with anything we said on the show or disagreed with anything we said on the show, hit us up on Twitter or X or whatever you call it these days. Links are in the show notes if you're listening on Spotify or whatever podcast thing you're listening to, and in the description on YouTube. All of our handles are there. All of the information on our projects is there. So check it out. We appreciate you. Make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm going to say that every time because it really does help. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.